What's up everyone, Lord Ryujin here, bringing you another YouTube video. I appreciate you watching as always, and per the usual, just let me go ahead and state before we get into today's topic that if you want to join in on the conversation, feel free to drop a comment down below. That's what they're there for. And of course, let's try to keep it civil if we could, please. So we're going to get into today's topic, which is one that I feel very passionately about, and I feel that I'm not the minority here, but microtransactions and DLC, more specifically because people have been talking about this a little bit and bringing this up. Mortal Kombat X, or Mortal Kombat 10, whichever it is, has microtransactions in it, and it also allows you to purchase easy fatalities, which seems to be counterproductive and kind of not what the point of the game is. But in addition to that, you have other games that do stuff like this all the time. I mean, I have applauded Nintendo for giving us good DLC, where if you give them, I think it was like $8, you get both of the Mario Kart 8 packs, and they give you carts and characters and all this other stuff, but it doesn't restrict you. And I understand that when it comes to DLC and microtransactions, that they're not really required. They're things that are optional. Like if I was to play, let's say, Candy Crush, I don't have to give them any money at all, and I understand that. But I feel like it's a cancer upon gaming, because it has become successful with companies like Zynga and their Farmville, or King with Candy Crush. How they keep nickel and diming us to death, to the point to where now, even again, we're seeing this in Mortal Kombat X, we've seen it happen in Evolve, to where these games are starting to nickel and dime us to death. I mean, I understand that it's a free-to-play game, that one, it's optional, you don't even have to buy it, and two, that it's a free-to-play game, so it has to make its money somewhere. And I guess with the free-to-play market, I can understand that. Because, again, they have to make the money somewhere, somehow. But this has no business in mainstream gaming. This has no business in free-to-play. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at a Nintendo GameCube, a Sega Dreamcast, and a PlayStation 2 lined up right here next to me. And I seem to recall a day when I would pop in a disc and it would play. There was none of this patching crap. There was none of this DLC crap. There was none of this whole, hey, you want to buy a gun, give us $2. There was none of that. What it gave you in the game was the experience. You know? And I understand that gaming has changed overall, so I can understand DLC. You know, I can understand charging people $4 to get a character in Smash Brothers. I can understand charging someone $2 to maybe get another map if they want to. I can understand stuff like this. You know, like I stated, with Ironfall, it's only $20, $10 for the multiplayer, $10 for the single player campaign. And you don't really have to buy any of them. If all you're going to do is play it for multiplayer, you can do the free multiplayer map and not do anything else. Or you can pay $10 and nothing else, just to get the multiplayer. Or if you're like me and you want to experience both, it's only $20. But that's what I'm saying, is it's a different playing field, I guess, when it comes to free-to-play. I don't think that I should have to plop down $60 to get Evolve, for an example, or $60 to get Mortal Kombat X. And then on top of that, give us $20 for a season pass, give us $30 for all these characters, give us $5 for... Dude, what happened to plopping down money to get a game, and that was it? You know, I have behind me, you can't see it, but I have a Nintendo 64 hooked up with Force Gemini in it. And that game has multiplayer included. You unlock characters and you unlock stages and stuff like that through actually playing the game. You don't have to plop any additional money down. And that's the kind of stuff that I guess I miss. Maybe it's just because I'm an old school gamer. I don't know. But it just feels like this is a result of free-to-play games making a ton of money. So now we're in an age where now big AAA games and game developers feel like they need to nickel and dime us. I mean, it's one thing to offer DLC, like what Mario Kart 8 does. It's one thing to offer DLC like that, where it's additional content, not required, but if you want it, you can buy it. It's something else completely when it's just like, hey, you want to pull off, fatalities. And I understand that as the generations come along, games are more and more expensive to make. And I also understand that game developers essentially lose a lot of money in the beginning because they're only charging $60 for a game and so many copies need to be sold, this, that, and the other. So they have to make the money somewhere. I get it. But I feel like this is just bogus BS crap that doesn't need to be in a game. I mean, if you want to go ahead and charge me stuff in Warframe because it's a free-to-play game, or if you want to charge me stuff, again, in Ironfall because it's a free-to-play game, that's cool, that's fine. But if I give you, let's just say I give you $60, don't sit there and then force stuff down my throat. Like, can you imagine if they did this stuff with Mario Kart? To where it's like, hey, you can only do 5 races, but if you want to do another 5 races, give us $1. That would be bogus stuff. But I feel like this is where the market is going. And as much as I don't want to see it, I already talked about it before, about how I feel like this generation of gaming is just the least interesting. It has remaster after remaster after remake after remake. There's nothing interesting about the technology other than the fact that they changed the controllers up, which is nice. And with the exception of the Wii U, there's nothing really that innovative that has come from this generation so far. And now they're starting to nickel and dime us with these games. It's becoming an epidemic where not only are we starting to remaster these games that just came out a few years ago, but now we're starting to nickel and dime people to where you want to unlock a stage, you want to unlock a character, you want to do this. You want to go ahead and, I'm just going to go ahead and start throwing these wacky things out there, but you want to go ahead and beat this boss, you don't even have to fight him. Just give us $2.75. We'll beat him for you. Go ahead and give us 75 cents for each achievement you want to unlock. I mean, this is the kind of crazy stuff that eventually people are going to get tired of, and they're going to say, that's enough, you're not getting any of my money, and then we're going to have another video game crash, which I hope happens. I really kind of don't want to see that, because as a gamer, I think that we need systems, and we need something to keep us entertained. But as a gamer, as passionate as I am, I think we need a video game crash. We need something to happen that makes developers realize this crap that's going on. And this is coming from EA also announcing that a lot of their free-to-play games are going down. And hopefully it's because they're not making any more money off of them. But that's sort of what I'm talking about, is all it takes is, a Candy Crush clone. Candy Crush is the only one that I know is really popular, but like an Angry Birds clone and things like that, to get someone to just play it for 5 seconds. They get the ad revenue, they make a lot of money. Like, look at Flappy Bird for an example. Good example of a game that made a ton of money for really no reason. And because they make a lot of money off of this, other developers get greedy. They start to think that this is how the business model needs to be, and we end up with crap like this. So I really hope that a video game crash does happen, because then maybe developers will be forced to rethink their strategy. Maybe we don't have to charge people to play online. Maybe we don't have to nickel and dime people to death. And maybe we can just come out with a game and just call it done and leave it alone and move on to our next project. But that's just my predictions, and again, that's just my 2 cents. Make sure that, as I stated earlier, that if you want to join in on the conversation, that you leave a comment down below. Make sure you tell me what you think about it. Do you think that DLC, especially DLC like this, and microtransactions and just nickel and diming us to death is going to cause a downfall, or do you think that this is just the way that gaming is going to be from now on? And what do you think about the video game crash idea? Otherwise, I think that that's my 2 cents on it. I can't really think of anything else to add to the conversation right now. Thanks for watching me. As always, I appreciate all the views that I can get. And as always, guys, I will see you next time.